And welcome back to Skyhawk Sports Talk here on the Skyhawk Sports Network. Davis Gregory here with me, Chris Brinkley, and a new guest making their debut, Chase Thrasher, the rodeo coach for UT Martin. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank y'all for having me.
About to enter your second year. How are things feeling on your end?
They feel really good. Looks like really promising year. I hope. A lot of confidence in what we got ahead of us.
And you got 20 returners, also 12 newcomers. The men's squad last year, really good. Top 2 in 6 of their 10 regular season rodeos, also some victories there. And then the women's team, they had 2 top 2 finishes, including 1 win in 5 separate rodeos. So that's got to be exciting. You're bringing back a lot of talent, but also some youth coming in as well.
Yes, sir. From last year to this year, our men's team is really young. We had a lot of men graduate. And my women's team have several returners, but I have a lot of really young talent coming in too.
What is a student athlete coming in for rodeo like now? I mean, what is their background? And you're bringing in kids from all over the place.
So most of these guys or girls, they've rodeoed their whole life, coming up through the junior rodeo ranks, high school ranks. Some of them got a late start in it just like anything else and just worked their way to the top. And they're now at the collegiate level.
And UT Martin is known nationwide.
Yes, sir. It's quite the legacy to be at UTM.
And for high school, when you go and you recruit some of these athletes, I assume a lot of high school teams don't have a rodeo team, or do they? And I guess how you find those athletes?
So at the high school level, it's divided into states. Each state has their own high school rodeo association. There's numerous junior high school rodeo organizations over the country. Gillette, Wyoming's the high school finals, or it has been the past couple of years there. Shawnee, Oklahoma, it's called the IFYR. It's a branch off of the International Professional Rodeo Association, specifically for kids from, I think, 14 to 19. And so you can go there and watch everybody across the country for the entire week.
So in basketball, in Davis, sometimes you hear about a kid who's in the 8th grade and already 6'5"
right.
and ready to. Are there some junior high rodeoers who are already getting national attention?
Oh, for sure. There's guys and girls even that you get an eye on them when they're really young like that, and you just know they're going to be a standout when they get to you. And you try and kind of recruit them as 6th and 7th graders.
Wow.
You can't legally do it, but you can talk to them and get the bug in their ear.
You can find some loopholes.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. So you competed and also coached with Coach Luthi, correct?
Yes, sir.
Legendary coach, brought a national championship here to UT Martin in 2014. What did you learn from him?
So the biggest thing I took from Coach Luthi was how to train the mind. He's very good with training the mental side of rodeo along with the physical side, but his general rule of thumb was, and it sometimes varied, it was 80% mental, 10 or 20% physical, and sometimes we joked that it was 95% physical and or mental and 5% physical.
During a prep week for rodeo, obviously you got your first competition coming up. What goes into a prep week?
So the week of the rodeo, we really don't try and do anything different other than just fine-tune small things. We practice generally every day that we can, and it's pretty well full contact all week, every week.
Do you use video much to go back and watch?
So, of course, the cell phone's a great thing. Everybody videos each other, and we'll video runs in practice and go over it and break it down. It's really beneficial because it's so hard to put multiple reps while you're out using a horse or cattle to just keep going till you get it right. So it helps a lot to be able to video and break it down and slow it down.
As you go into this first rodeo this season, what are you looking for from your team?
So I'm mainly looking for the leadership to be there to help the younger guys and girls. College rodeo is no different than a regular rodeo, other than you throw the team aspect into it. And as a freshman, it's huge to have the upperclassmen standing there with you, pushing you on and stuff. And it plays a big role in their performance when they do have that backing.
The the hardest questions.
I'm going to ask you your birthday and stuff like that. Easy stuff.
I've been preparing for this. So
Oh, okay.
I've been practicing with my note cards.
Oh, nice.
Like,
nice.
okay, Catherine Hunt. Catherine Hunt.
The Skyhawk Sports Talk podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
And now joining us, our first student athlete of the program, Catey Hunt, graduate from McDonough, Georgia. Catey, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
Now,
Excited to be here.
You all have been on the road for quite some time. How has that been? I could tell by your facial reaction there. It's not been quite the fun time having to go to all these different schools every week and not having at least one home game in between.
It is tough. I mean, the travel really takes a toll on your body, especially trying to get that recovery in, but then you're in fetal position, trying to find a comfortable way to sleep. So, yeah, it's tough. But, I mean, I think the travel has really kind of brought us together as a team. You get to spend a lot of time with each other. You get to know them pretty well. So it's been good.
And we talked to Coach Varga about that, about the team bonding aspect and how this road trip would be beneficial for that, because you all do have a lot of newcomers on the team as well.
Yeah, 16 newcomers is a big number. I mean, I don't know that we've ever had that many. But, we do have some traditions, so we get to know each other a little bit well. So it's been good.
Your favorite tradition, as you bring that up?
Oh, honestly, we haven't done it yet. And we've traveled so much, but we're saving it for Moorhead this Thursday. So we like to make all the freshmen sing karaoke on the bus.
Okay. Nice.
But the catch is that only you can hear the music. So,
Oh, so you put like noise canceling headphones on them, and then they have to sing.
So they sing it individually then.
Oh, you can have a partner sometimes.
okay.
Like with this big of a group, we'll probably give them a little bit of leeway, but yeah.
Cut them a little slack. What was your song when you went up there? Do you
My
remember?
Song was Mariah Carey, "All I Want for Christmas."
Oh, okay.
that's not too bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Hit
good.
that intro, yeah.
I would.
Really good.
Mariah is tough though. Mariah hits notes that aren't normally hit.
I mean, I don't know that I hit them, but we gave it a best effort.
How have bus rides changed since going back when you were a freshman? I mean, how do you approach them differently in your thought process?
Well, now I am so lucky that I only have like 2 classes, so I pretty much just go on bus rides. I watch a movie, I read a book, and I've never been able to do that. So in the past, it's been very much I'm the one with the light on, looking at my engineering paper and doing all my math.
Izzy's like next to you, just like, turn the light off, Catey, please.
Exactly. So, and in the past, like my freshman year, all we took was the Skyhawk bus. And I tell you what, that bus is either 95 degrees or 60 degrees. And it is so bad. But we've been lucky enough to do a bunch of charter buses. So, I mean, it's been nice.
Good.
And that's been a good time. So for you, a graduate with this team, you've been here a while. I went and I crunched the numbers. In total, you have played 6,374 minutes. Does it feel like you've played that long?
Let's see. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
I'm impressed, Davis, that you did that. And would you have been able to guess that? Would you have been close?
What would you have? What would you have guessed?
I probably would have guessed somewhere around 5,000, but not quite 6,000.
I approach it up on 6,500, so that is a pretty milestone accomplishment for you. So good stuff there.
Thank you.
So again, we talked about new team, new head coach with Coach Varga coming on. What's the experience been like for you?
Honestly, it has been really, really great this whole semester. Obviously, sometimes you can look at a schedule and you can look at results and you can say, oh, maybe we've been on the wrong side of certain results. But honestly, this has been a really good experience. I love the work ethic from the team, and I love that everybody is buying into everything that Coach Varga has to say. And so I have enjoyed this season probably more than I have in the past.
That's great.
Being a graduate student, do you have that mindset that this is it?
Yeah, it's tough. Like, we went to UNI and they had their senior day, and I was like, oh, that's weird.
About time for that.
Yeah, that's weird. So everything kind of means a little bit more, I would say, because after this, you really don't know what you're getting yourself into. You might find another passion, another hobby. You might continue on. So I don't know what I'll do, but I know that I'm going to take advantage. I think we have 10 games left, and I'm going to love every bit of it. So
that's the great mindset to have. I want to go back to the Alabama A&M match on Thursday. Very tight one there that you all were able to get the win. And, in fact, you got your second game winner of the year. You get the penalty kick. And if you all have watched the video on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever we posted it, you score. And that crowd was loud during that PK. And then you score and you hit them with a little shush. What went through your head? Take me through the emotions in that moment.
Well, I mean, first off, we should give credit to Jordan Bailey for getting the penalty and the team build up to the penalty. And it means a lot that your teammates will trust you in that position. And so I'm really, really thankful for that. But so I walk up, and as I'm walking up, all of their girls were chirping, and she doesn't have it. You're getting in her head to their goalkeeper. And I was just like, this is going to feel so good when this goes in. And so it was nice because the whole PK, I mean, just words were coming out from all sides, and I was like, okay, well, you know.
Give him a little something back. Give him a little
Well, they didn't know you had over 6,000 minutes of experience under your belt.
They weren't ready. They weren't ready at all for that. So take me back now, quite some time ago, of you getting recruited to play here. What made UT Martin the place for you?
So I knew that I wanted to do engineering, and finding a school that has a good balance of engineering and soccer that's played at a high level is really tough. You know, I had probably a bunch of offers from schools that didn't have engineering, and so it was tough for me to say no to those because I got recruited late. You know, it was probably December when I made my decision, and a lot of people have made that in their junior year. So it was tough for me to like give up those opportunities and really stay true to, okay, know what you want to do, be passionate about it. But I went to a soccer tournament at Disney, and that's where our old coach Leslie had seen me play, and she came back to every game. And honestly, I played so bad. But she saw something in me, and so it was nice to feel that, like, oh, no, she's confident in me. And so that was a real confidence booster. And I know when I visited, I met some of the upperclassmen, stayed with them, and we made pancakes at like 11:30 at night. And I was like, this place rocks.
That is team
Who
bonding
would not
at the
want
highest level.
pancakes at midnight? So, you know, this was the place, and I could feel the home environment, and I could feel the community support, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is it. So
Do we go chocolate chip pancakes or straight pancakes?
they were straight pancakes, but, you know, I'm not opposed to chocolate chip.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
It was late.
Yeah, okay.
Right,
It was
come on.
late at night. But, I mean, sometimes you get into the weird toppings there. Maybe you go, like, grape jelly or something like that on pancakes. I don't know. Maybe that's an experiment. We might try that. We talked about, I think Coach Varga brought up Kool-Aid fried Oreos last time we were talking about state fair food. Have you ever heard about that?
No, I have not.
We never heard about it either.
I don't
too.
recommend it as a pregame meal.
No.
Also
Yeah,
talked
I don't think
about he also talked about putting vinegar on his fries.
I saw this.
What was your opinion on that?
So, look, I know what he meant. You know, malt vinegar goes well on fish and chips, but personally, I'm a funnel cake girl, you know, or get me the big, like, giant pickle on a stick. I can do that.
Pickle on a We didn't even bring that up. That was another good carnival food to add. Again, we've talked about it. Lots of newcomers on this team, and you've also got a lot of returners, though. I think 10 returners on this team. So how do you feel that you all have meshed with those newcomers and brought them in, especially, again, on these road trips as well?
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say that as returners, there was a sense of responsibility early on, especially with all the uncertainty that we had this summer and, you know, the excitement of finding out that Coach Varga was going to join us. And so all of us had a big role to play over the summer, just making sure that, you know, fostering in 16 new players, we had to do the best that we could. And so I think work ethic out of the returners was really, really good, and it has been the whole entire semester. And then the newcomers, they came in and they had just such a desire to play well and a desire to get on the ball. And so it really kind of meshed well, I would say, because you had people that were like, okay, we have these expectations, and you had people that were like, we're going to meet these. So.
And that's good stuff. Okay, one last question for you. We'll let you go. Who's winning the World Series?
Atlanta Braves.
The Atlanta
baby.
Braves.
Chop
The
on.
Atlanta Braves are going to win the World Series. You heard it here first. Catey, thanks so much for joining us. We'll have Coach Wilson join us next. But again, thanks so much for being a great guest here with us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
The Skyhawk Sports Talk podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
Again, just a great time we're having over here at the Zaxby's in Martin, Tennessee. They've been gracious hosts.
Oh, absolutely. We'll give a shout-out to Zaxby's. They always welcome us with open doors, and we invite you to come out and hang out with us on Mondays from 12 until 1, enjoy lunch, and get to see our coaches, and a great example of one of our coaches who's really become a big part of this community And I appreciate what you do outside of coaching volleyball just in West Tennessee, Coach.
Hey, it's a great area. This is an awesome, awesome community, a great place to raise a family. And it's hard not to get involved and, build the relationships. It's one of the greatest assets of Martin, Tennessee.
Jaclynn Wilson, even since you've been here, we've seen volleyball at the junior high and high school ranks and the youth ranks even rise in popularity and get a lot of interest recently.
Absolutely. And we've tried to insert ourselves a little bit to help get things going. And, at the high school level, middle school, one of our former players is the coach.
Yeah.
And she's helping at the high school. And I think it's going to do awesome, awesome things for their program. It's tough kind of watching it come from the ground up, but they've come really far in a short amount of time.
And we get now to your schedule here, Coach. Finally back at home. You told me right when you came on, thank the Lord that we are back in Martin, Tennessee.
Woo!
For not just any home opener, a conference opener against a very good Eastern Illinois team. It's going to be a fun Friday and Saturday.
It is going to be a fun weekend. I think our girls are ready to be home. We've had a tough preseason. We played a lot of really strong schools. I think we had some letdowns late, and I don't know kind of what to tie that to. Rather, we're tired of being on the road. We've been on the road for 4 weeks, and I think everybody's mindset had kind of shifted, including mine, before this last weekend to conference. Like, here we come, going in against EIU, who's 10-1 right now, and have some really, really great wins. But I could not be more excited or more confident in us going into battle against EIU.
On the schedule, that was by design. Did you get out of it what you wanted to get out of it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes and no. I think I'll be able to give you a better answer next Monday. Mm-hmm. I worry a little bit about the confidence of the girls because we lost a lot in preseason and we took some beatings and, I changed the lineup all the time during preseason. And I feel confident going into this week with 2 different options and whatever we feel we need in the moment. Absolutely, I think we saw, potentially the strongest schedule in our conference. We competed really strong against some of those top teams, and I think we learned a lot about ourselves. But for sure, we played tough competition. I think it's going to help us. I just hope I'm very confident going into this weekend. I'm ready for conference play. I just really hope, the girls I know they're excited, but you just worry a little bit when you're losing that confidence. But I think we can lean on our success the last 2 years. And we know we can compete with the best, and we're going to go try to win another championship.
Yeah.
And you talked about it in preseason about wanting to have more fun. How do you feel like that's gone so far during the non-conference schedule?
Well, losing's not fun.
That is true.
So it's been challenging, and I told the girls, I don't know why we're having the struggles we're having. I don't know why, we're kind of stuck in the trenches right now. But there's a purpose. Everything happens for a reason. And, we got to trust in God and ourselves and stay together. If we stay together and we come out of these trenches, I think we're going to be really, really hard to stop, and we're going to have a lot of fun.
And then in those tournaments as well, yes, there were losses, but also I think every single tournament, correct me if I'm wrong, you had a player on the all-tournament team from that outing. Kayla Carroll, Olivia Saunders, and then I believe Dylan Mott were all 3 of the players that got named there. So you did have some good performances and some strong showings there as well. For sure.
Individually, we saw glimpses of greatness in everybody. We've got a smaller roster, and almost every weekend, almost every player saw the court. And that's very unusual. It's very unusual for us. And for me, I have a lot of confidence in all of our players. So if someone's not getting it done, I'm not waiting around for you to get it going. We've got people who are ready on the side. And it's exciting to see those girls get recognition. Kayla actually had her first opportunity this season to play libero in that last match. And I was very, very pleased with her, and I thought she capitalized on her opportunity.
And, again, we open up Eastern Illinois here this weekend, and you look at this conference, going to be another very competitive season with this league. What sticks out to you when you look at the conference here this year?
Whew, we got some good teams. SEMO went 3-0 this weekend against really good competition. UMKC, who we lost to, they ended up beating in 5. They beat SLU. They beat Austin P. They've got a lot of talent. They're always strong in the conference, but I think they were struggling a little earlier in preseason. But it seems like they're full speed right now. EIU, in my hopes, I guess, is they've kind of peaked, and they finally got a loss on Friday, and They actually open conference tonight with Southern Indiana. So, but I think they're going to be tough. Tech's going to be tough. I don't think you can sleep on anybody. SIUE's had some really good wins this preseason. TSU has not been winning, but I know they have talent, and I know they're always super athletic, and they always seem to challenge us. Little Rock the same. They're struggling in preseason and didn't have a lot of success in conference last year, but we went 5 sets with them both times we played last year. They gave us some fits, and so I think you'll see that. I just think our conference is going to be very typical. The underdogs beating the top rank, and you can't sleep on anybody.
The underdogs beating the top rank, you're now perceived differently by teams in the league after the 2 seasons that you've had. You got a target on your back, which can be a really good thing, and it could be a negative thing too. How do you approach that? Yeah,
that's because I was the underdog for so long while we were here. I didn't mind that because I felt like didn't put pressure on the girls. But you know what I love right now about having more pressure, about having a target on your back? I talk to the girls about who creates that pressure. I mean, we do, so you're feeling, pressure, and we've talked about kind of playing fearless. And if we can get into that rhythm and really play for the girl next to you and play fearless, I think we can be pretty dangerous.
Really, because being the underdog or being the favored, you can use it to an advantage either way if you've got the right mindset.
And I think it's so good for the girls. I think being able to handle yourself when you're at the top or in the top is a lot harder. And so for me, for life, for preparing them for what's next, I think it's just great life skills to learn, and they're having to keep their composure and stay together right now while we've been struggling. And so I'm excited for us to start that uphill climb. And I really believe, we kind of went through what we did this preseason for a reason. And I keep telling them if we stick together and we keep working, we're gonna be so much better off having gone through what we went through this preseason.
And I love the quote. I don't know who said it, but pressure is a privilege. And I think it's so special, too, for this team that has, yes, there's pressure, but it's a privilege. It means that you are well respected within your league and that you've built up that respect, and teams look at you. I think Logan said it in her video last year for the UTMs that when we came in, it was, it's UT Martin. But now it's UT Martin. We got to bring our A game. Absolutely.
And like you said, it's a privilege to have that pressure. For us as a coaching staff, having to adapt from being, one of the lower teams in the conference to now to the top, and how you manage that. And for us, it's never getting comfortable. I think you've got to keep the girls working. We never want them to be settled and comfortable, and I think that's one thing we proved this preseason by changing the lineup so much. We sat a couple of our best players on several occasions. Whether that they weren't meeting the expectation energy-wise, whatever it might be. But I think, we've shown we have a very strong top-to-bottom roster. But I think thriving under pressure is such an awesome, awesome life skill. And athletes, that's why you get in a game. You don't get in a game to go blow everybody out. You want to win. But, the ones that really build character and the ones that I feel you grow as a team and an individual are against those, bigger programs and or your rivalries in conference and.
And so EIU again, 6 p.m. on Friday, 2 p.m. on Saturday. Fiesta Friday is at 6 p.m. and it's, I think, free 200 tacos to the first 200, or free tacos to the first 200 students in there. So going to be a great environment. Just your message to the fans to come on out.
Goodness, I am so excited to be home. I know the girls are. We want to play in front of our home crowd. And so, we're asking you, please get out and show your support. We've got the taco thing going on. We're also doing just a little representation for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So, we'll probably have something there for donations, and we'd like to kick it back to the Anna Kate Wentz Foundation. Just really try to sink into local. We're just so excited. So we really hope people come out and watch. I'm excited to watch our girls play. It's been a tough preseason, but I think they're ready.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
The Skyhawk Sports Talk podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
As it was a big win this weekend for the Skyhawks, defeating Houston Christian 66-7. Coach, a very fun one this past weekend. Over 700 total yards of offense, and your defense holding the Huskies to less than 220. A very impressive performance. How'd you feel it went?
Obviously, very well. Very well. It was. Here's what's satisfying about those games when you give the players a directive and okay, this is things we've got to improve on, and those are Monday through Friday things, and then you got to play well on Saturday, and they did all those things. So very very proud of that, and learned some lessons from the week before. Obviously, not as quality opponent, but your mind still has to be in the right place, and then you still have to do it. And a couple examples of those are handling success. We started well again, and we handled that success and kept scoring in the first half. Then we got to halftime and talked about again, learn our lesson from the week before. The details and energy and execution that needs to take place early in the third quarter to grab back the momentum and not let them back in the game, and the return to kickoff for a touchdown. So those things happened. And then another thing I was pleased with is that a lot of the younger players had an opportunity to play in the game a lot of minutes, the whole fourth quarter and probably 3/4 of the third quarter. And it wasn't a there was some good execution. We were able to get stops on defense. We were able to move the football on offense. We got our backup quarterback some reps and got him some throws. So a lot of positive came out of that game besides just a win.
And then 6 different receivers get a touchdown, and your quarterback, Kincaid Den, in the game, 6 total touchdowns for him, and by far his best game. And he really found a rhythm, especially, Coach, when you all went hurry up. What'd you like from him?
Well, I mean, obviously, you take the Georgia game out of it, okay? Right. So he's had a sample size of 2 games. And then even last, the Missouri State game, it was such a running game. But he knew he could play better coming off the Missouri State game, and we felt like he could as well. So, I thought as a staff we had a lot of good things for him. And, the big thing, too, that helped us this week versus those zone coverages were – we had pretty good spacing, but the guys also, there was a lot of run after the catch. Okay, and that's always a quarterback's good friend, and Tank and of course Rucker, doing something on short passes and making guys miss and running through arm tackles. That's really can get a quarterback going. So that was good to see.
And you're blocking too, not just up front with the offensive line, but the receivers. I've been really impressed seeing them block as well.
We've improved. We certainly have, and those guys are fighting for. We're developing depth. Feel good about our 2 deep at that position, and so you want to stay in the game, you got to block, and so you think about it. If there's 70, if you're getting 70 snaps offensively in a game, okay, and you're throwing the ball 35 times, right? There's a lot more plays that come that you've got to, what kind of football player are you? How do you help the team? So those guys, that's a measuring stick as well.
Depth so important. He mentioned the receivers, even the guys running the ball. Where is this team from a depth standpoint right now? And how important is it for your success this season?
At some positions, we like our depth. At some positions, not so much. Okay, and and that's probably everybody. Okay, you always wish you had more, but our tight ends. We're pleased with some depth that we're growing with there. At the running back position, we're getting more experienced depth there. Offensive line, we need some more guys to come along. So, you're not, we played 5 guys against Missouri State. Okay, so, we need to get to where we can play 7 and 8. But the wide receiver is one of the more deeper positions that we have on offense.
And on defense, flipping it over to them, forced 4 turnovers in the game. Dot gets a fumble recovery, O'Shea with a pick, Lamarion with a pick, and then Vincent Guy snags one down as well. And I think one of the big things, Coach, that I saw was being able to get those turnovers and turn them into 6 points. How did you feel that your offense capitalized off of that momentum brought in by the defense?
Well, one, I'll just talk about the turnovers. I mean, being able to get the 4 turnovers, and a couple of them were outstanding plays. Lamarion Pierce is a young DB for us that that was an outstanding play, and O'Shea's was outstanding, and so to get those 4 turnovers was great. There's not scoring after turnovers is more of a mindset than it is a perfect play call, right? Traditionally, do you take a shot? Do you run it? What do you do? That part changes week to week, but the bottom line is this is a game, and part of this game is there's momentum changes that go throughout a football game. And so when opponent's offense turns it over and you're able to turn those into points, 7 points is most importantly. That's a big momentum swing throughout the game. So those are things hopefully we'll continue to do.
But even if you take points potentially away from them, a turnover can take 7 points away from them, give you 7 points. That's a 14-point turnaround.
No, you're right. You do the what ifs and the different maths of that. Just like if you're able to hold a team after a turnover in your side of the field to a field goal, it kind of feels like a little sigh of relief. Mm-hmm. Hey, that you're still in the game and stuff. So this game has got a lot of different unwritten rules, and that's one of them, being able to score, convert turnovers into points.
And special teams as well, clicking for your team, offense, defense, all three facets of the game going well. How exciting is that for you at week 3, and as you head into a road game, as you try to get that momentum, how exciting is that for you to see that?
Well, that's like we're still finding ourselves, okay? That's fortunately, we got one more non-conference game before we get into conference season. There's some things that we talked about that we felt like we've done well up to this point, and there's some things we haven't done so well. One, our kicker, Aiden, right? I think the guys told me yesterday, I don't know, he's like over 50% of touchbacks on kickoffs, which is a big deal. Mm-hmm. And, so that's, we've scored relatively a lot of points in the last 2 weeks, okay? So those are a lot of kickoffs, all right? But to be able to put it in the end zone, that's big for us. He's been flipping the field on punts. I think he's 44, 45-yard average, so that's been good for us. It's good to see us. I could have gone for it the other night, but I wanted him to make a field goal, and get that confidence. So, we're doing some solid things in the kicking game. We'll get certainly tested, as we'll talk about North Alabama here, I'm sure soon. But putting some passing yards up on the board this week to give us some more balance. I mean, that's something that that we knew we certainly needed.
So we're ready to preview North Alabama. Starting off with the Lions, beat Tennessee Tech, so a familiar opponent for you all. They beat them in Cookeville 20-7, 2-2 as they enter this weekend. And after such a dominating win for you, Coach, this past Saturday, how do you look to get the team refocused on this week for the opponent in front of you?
Well, there's a couple changes. One, you go on the road again after being back-to-back home games, and we're traveling the day up. So that's a little different for us. We hadn't done that in a long time, except we used to do that going over to Murray and I guess Austin Peay. But this is a little bit longer trip, so we'll have to adjust to that. But when you turn the tape on, this is a team that's 2-2, but lost the first game against a quality opponent, Mercer, 17-7. And that's probably a game they look back and say, hey, first game, new coach. There's a lot of things that I'm sure they were pleased with how they played, and they knew they had a chance to win the game. They go to Tarleton State, who's a team that's trying to get to the make the conversion into FBS. They're, really put some money and some things into their program, and they have a 28-7 lead. And then it goes to halftime, 28-17. And then they end up getting beat pretty handily in the second half. But you got a 28-7 lead. You got to think you got a pretty good chance. So I'm sure they're looking at that, saying, hey, we had an opportunity to be 4-0 at this point. And then they go on the road to play Tennessee Tech, and 20-7, kind of in a rainstorm a little bit. But the big win was at home. They beat Chattanooga. Okay, who we know they're a quality opponent as well. So very dangerous football team, very good team, coached well. I mean, they challenge you on their defense. Will challenge us, to throw the ball. They will say, okay, press their corners up and play tight coverage and try to load the box up. On offense, they play with a lot of tempo and run their quarterback, so that makes the game 11-on-11. That causes you a lot of problems. So it's got to be a great week of practice and preparation.
You're scouting a game and you get to watch game film from your opponent. Would you rather see them in a game that they lost, a game that they won, or just a really close game? Do you get more out of those scenarios?
Probably, yeah. I would rather see people score a lot of points against them as the offense coordinator, right? I mean, it makes me feel a lot better. But I don't know if I've really ever thought about it. You just break it down and say, okay, what do they do? You like to see some tape of some carryover by formations, okay, or schemes, or the more things that you can see that you do well, all right, that usually helps me.
Yeah. So they're watching your game where you scored a lot of points this last Saturday.
Right.
Are they getting more from that than they would have?
At some point you probably turn it off and you say, hey, they got their backups in.
Yeah.
Let's don't even break down the second half. Let's just break down, the first quarter and the second quarter, because that's how they attack this game. And if we line up like this, what's their tendencies on down and distance and stuff. So there is a little bit of carryover. I mean, this team we played. Houston Christian was 4 down. North Alabama's a 4 down front. The coverages are a lot different. The aggressiveness of the coverage is a lot different. So a lot of throws that we got the other night won't be there in their coverage. And I mean, they know that. There's no need to draw that route up because they know we're not going to throw that route against their coverages. So, how much new stuff can you put in? How much can be executed and digested by the players to be able to execute at a high level? That's always a balance that you have to come up with. Basically you've got Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to kind of decide that. Okay, and then it's got to get in, and the time you get to Wednesday, you've moved on to third downs and red zone in your practice time. So really, you got kind of Monday and Tuesday for first and second down. So crucial days. It's hard. You can't come in on Monday night and say, after seeing that, I don't really think that works. And I mean, that's what you have to make not happen.
And when you go to these road games, you mentioned you're just going to drive down the day of and go to that game. About a 3-hour drive heading down there to Florence, Alabama. What's your, philosophy on the ride down? Do you want your guys maybe a little loose the first hour and a half, and then the next hour and a half to get there, you want them locked in? Or how do you preach to your players on that, on just getting mentally right before the game on a road trip?
Well, once again, this is a little bit longer trip. Normally, I don't know if we've ever my mindset is this: like, if you were with us on a Friday night, it's kind of relaxed dinner, and want the guys excited about playing, and because normally when they're around each other at the facilities, right, it's meetings, it's weights, it's practice, and and there's a certain attention to detail that has to come with that and focus. But no, my mindset is on game days, whether it's a 5-minute trip or a 3-hour trip, right? It's don't have your music up too loud where we all got to listen to it. You only get 4 quarters. You're only going to have so many snaps. We kind of have a philosophy that, like, when we finish practice on Thursday, right or wrong, I start preaching, okay, we want to prepare differently. There's still time, even though there's no more physical time, there's still time to mentally get one more stop on defense and get one more first down on offense as as the kids are looking at their tips and reminders and looking at their tests and watching more tape and stuff. So you want that mindset, I do, to carry over onto that trip to the game on Saturday.
And the noise is going to be a little bit different as compared to that first road game. The capacity for North Alabama is a little bit over 14,000 fans. Georgia, they had over 92,000 on hand for week 1. So a more normal road atmosphere for you all this week. But again, still a lot of newness there on offense. How do you handle these type of environments, and what makes them different from the field level compared to the Georgias and the Tennessees? The Georgia and Tennessee stuff, the Knoxville stuff, that kind of takes care of itself. Okay, that's kind of specific, different. These. First I believe they had 9,000 at their Chattanooga game, so that's a good crowd. I mean, that's probably triple, what we're drawing. So, so to be good, that's a good atmosphere for our players. They've got an older stadium there that's bigger that used to play the Division II national championships in. So anytime you go on the road, we kind of adopt a road warrior mentality. Our mindset is we're already down 7 points, because they got to sleep in their bed. They're in their own locker room. There's more comfort there. That's the mindset that I try to preach to the players, and hopefully that you are more focused and ready to go because you know that you're already down 7 points in your mind before the game starts. Yeah. Well, before we let you go, Coach, we want to congratulate you and Miss Simpson. Ty coming into the game for Alabama, and they get the win against South Florida, and also gets a rushing touchdown in that game. So congratulations to you all. Know you all were very proud about that.
Well, I appreciate it. He's worked hard to get an opportunity to get in the game when they're down 3-0, and to be a part of a win. So it was a good day. Skyhawks won big, and Ty got to help his team in a win. So it was a good day.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
The Skyhawk Sports Talk podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
But here we go. So if you could be pro at any sport on campus besides your own, which one would it be and why?
On campus?
On campus.
Most definitely volleyball.
Volleyball? Okay,
Yes.
why?
I'm smacking somebody in the face with the ball. Like, it's really nice to see.
I was not expecting
So
that.
you'd play up front.
Oh, heck yeah. Like, I got bunnies. I got some bunnies.
What would you say your vertical is right now?
Right now?
Yeah.
42.
Okay.
Wow.
Cap.
See, I believed it. I believed
Cap. It's not 42.
Okay.
it. I 100% believed it.
No shot.
I mean, there you go.
I'll be dunking on y'all.
Coach Varga.
Yeah, no doubt beach volleyball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So everyone's going with Coach Wilson's
Oh yeah,
sport.
not just
So why
for the
specifically
sport,
beach?
but it's where I live by a beach.
Oh, okay.
Got you.
I'm going
Okay.
big picture.
Would you? I would love to see you in those sunglasses. Maybe we can bring that to the next show. The Pit Vipers or whatever that they have on. Would love to see you in those sunglasses. That'd be
I
great.
think you'd rock those.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
That'd be good for the next home match, Little Rock. Little Rock, we need to get you some of those beach sunglasses. That'd be.
And I can play volleyball. I can play some volleyball.
I didn't know that.
To, like staff softball to beach volleyball.
We do.
Yeah, most definitely. We could do that.
Like,
That would be
tie
great.
it both ways. Yeah.
That would be some
It'd be
good
fun.
stuff. That'd be
It'd
real
fun.
good. All right, for you.
It's a tough one. I think, okay, I'm awful at golf, and I really want to be good at golf. So that.
Don't we all?
And then maybe something like rifle.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
Like I'm ready to. I want to
Okay.
be. Yeah.
She got the nod.
Yeah. Rifle. And maybe rodeo. We got some cool sports. I would try a lot of them. Like one of those switches where you switch sports for the day. There's a few I
Would
definitely
you would ride a bull,
I would. Yeah.
Coach Varga?
Let's go.
Would you do rodeo?
No.
I would. I'm goat tying. I got you. Jump off. Got it. We good.
The bear bronc riding.
Yeah.
I always feel
think I'd
bad
do-
for
I
the
think I'd go
goats
with
when
that.
they do that because I'm like, especially when the girls go, they're already like tied up.
No.
Oh,
I,
yeah.
I'm like, that poor little goat is just sacrificial.
And now and then steer wrestling too. I mean that poor whatever steer, I don't know what specific animal it is that's let out. I mean they just jump down. It looks like they're breaking their neck as they're taking it down to the dirt. I mean it's
is
aggressive.
serious.
And no one tell PETA, but I mean it's a little aggressive.
They
a
be
little
out there.
aggressive. Okay, so we've actually got a little bit more time. So one more question: favorite type of music to listen to before a game?
Oh. Whatever my players put on. I'm so
Hey,
out
again,
of touch.
best
I
playlist.
listen to all country, except when I'm on the road with the volleyball team and whatever they. I'm one I could go running to country music. I don't need like music
You
to
run
really
to
hype
country
me
music?
up. Yeah, I can't.
not
I can't
judging.
do that.
Coach Vargas.
I go back to 80s, 90s.
There we go.
Some classics.
I love that.
No.
Coach Henderson, as you wrap us up.
90s for sure. Early 2000s.
Okay.
The go-to.
See,
Most definitely.
love that.
They're talking about NSYNC making a comeback.
Ooh.
And I am there.
Hey,
I'm
are we
there.
all on board
I might
for
be
that?
a groupie on
I
tour.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
The Skyhawk Sports Talk podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.